scariest thing I ever experienced in my life.
March 28, 2000, an EF3 tornado hits downtown Fort Worth.
Mass destruction of a tornado coming towards us ripped the whole back of the building out, ceiling falling in.
Windows shattered in skyscrapers, offices torn apart, and hundreds of homes and businesses across Tarrant County damaged or destroyed. Now, 25 years later, how the community has recovered and grown.
It was a massive undertaking.
Even turning storm debris into art.
And this is something we can share with our neighbors and our neighborhood.
Looking back at a storm that changed Fort Worth forever.
It was one of the most destructive storms in North Texas history. 10 tornadoes touching down in North Texas 25 years ago today.
Yeah, the strongest of them, an EF3 tornado that slammed into downtown Fort Worth during the evening rush hour. Very dangerous. In just 10 minutes on the ground, it caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage.
Jobin Puneker looks back at what happened as survivors share their memories and the lessons learned on that day.
Hamilton County and that southwest area, but the heaviest part right now is right in Tarrant County.
When you look to the events that shape a city,
this blossomed all at once as the instability caught up with the moist air.
We rarely think about the bad.
A tornado has struck the downtown Fort Worth area.
The tornado of the year 2000.
This was the first direct hit on downtown Fort Worth.
That tore through 4 miles of the city.
An amateur photographer has given us video of the actual funnel cloud as it formed.
Its path shown in destruction.
The damage to downtown Fort Worth is widespread.
Told by the people who live here.
Because it started just west of here.
He saw it by Montgomery Plaza, just taking the cars and dragging the cars out the way and stuff.
It then crossed the river here.
Literally cut a path through 7th Street to downtown Fort Worth.
Ignacio and Fidelina Hernandez are still here 25 years later, the last ones.
No, hijo. Al panteón.
She says the next time we move is to a grave. The tornado decimated their Linwood neighborhood.
See that it was just like a buzzing sound over and over again.
Ignacio remembers bracing the front door. The pressure of the tornado was overwhelming. It went from an F0 to an F3 within minutes.
I could see the windows out, I could see the draperies flowing in the air, papers up in the air, and that's when I knew we really had a problem.
Kent Worley is a retired fire lieutenant. He went 2 days without sleep managing the crisis.
There was a lot of glass, a lot of bricks.
We were inside the building when the glass started popping out.
Mayor Kenneth Barr will hold a press conference updating the state of the city.
There was debris everywhere, glass and falling glass.
Kenneth Barr was the Fort Worth mayor.
We're going to want to make sure the downtown area is safe before people are allowed to return.
Bank One Tower was in tatters.
The Cash America building.
The damage is on all 4 sides of this building.
Calvary Cathedral, completely torn up.
Can we go down here, officer?
No, sir, you can't. It's a restricted area.
We actually had to close the downtown area to all traffic for several days.
The Emergency Operations Center.
He led round-the-clock updates and made not-so-easy decisions.
I was absolutely amazed at the city's ability to ramp up and respond.
24-year-old Ashlyn Dinkins.
There were 2 confirmed deaths.
Howard Douglas Thornton, their fallen father.
What's the chances of it being my dad,
This is Sundance Square.
To this day, he thinks it's a miracle more people didn't die. But if you want to see the power of a tornado, these bent steel beams that once held up a billboard are still here.
It's artwork now.
Speaking of artwork.
Of course, the spurs, because this is Cowtown. Some people say that we have maybe an omen to scare tornadoes away in the future, so we're hoping that works.
Mark and Jill Freer had this commissioned by a local artist.
I hope it works.
For their Linwood neighborhood.
Well, I feel like this is Tornado Alley. It was a very scary day. You can see these homes here.
These neighborhoods are not the same.
Are devastated.
Fort Worth is not the same. The tornado was on the ground for 10 minutes.
Entire window panes falling from the Bank One building.
The crisis response would last weeks.
Fort Worth truly looks like a battle zone tonight.
But it would take months to get back to normal and years to build back what the tornado took.
I think this will be in Fort Worth's history books for a long time.
I'm glad you're okay.
I don't think it'll ever soak in. I think we'll always remember this.
The events that shape
Storms really blossom, there they come.
a city.
And the rest is history now, as we've talked about all the damage and destruction that took place.
In Fort Worth, I'm Jobin Puniker.
Let's take a look at the tornado impact by the numbers now. City records show the twister damaged 286 structures, including more than 200 homes, 28 of them destroyed. Downtown Fort Worth was closed to the public for more than 24 hours as they just tried to get a handle on the whole situation there. The tornado caused $450 million in damage. In today's dollars, that would be more than $820 million. The city of Fort Worth says this remains the only tornado in Fort Worth history to result in fatalities. That's pretty remarkable. One person was killed by a falling brick wall. Another died when their truck overturned. A third person died later due to baseball-sized hail that day.
The same supercell from the Fort Worth tornado generated a second EF3 tornado that struck Arlington and Grand Prairie. It damaged homes, businesses, and the Arlington Municipal Airport. Fortunately, there were no deaths or serious injuries with that tornado. WFAA crews rushed to the scene and reported on the devastation for days. You recognize that face. That's Daybreak meteorologist Greg Fields. He was stationed west of Fort Worth to track the storm as it moved through. He came in behind the storm and reported on damage from downtown to Arlington.
Driving in right behind the storm, right after the tornado had moved on through, I was amazed, really, at what the devastation. And well, there was that myth that, you know, tornadoes don't hit downtown areas. And here we are in the middle of downtown Fort Worth, and you could just see cars flipped over and windows, you know, blown out of the skyscrapers. And it was just tremendous, you know, devastation all around. So it was just kind of like, wow, just shocking. Even before the ambulances and emergency crews had gotten there, so we were literally right after the storm had moved on through. So it was an amazing sight to see, for real.
Something you never forget, I bet.
It is stunning. And, you know, there is that myth, Jesse, about, you know, that these don't hit in downtowns. Right. Obviously they do. And, boy, the damage that they can cause. You think of those, you know, skyscrapers as being so strong, but, I mean, they just got ripped up.
Yeah. You know, the reason I think that myth exists is you have to think about there's a lot more open area, more rural area than there are downtown centers. And, you know, if you were to look at a map, that's a very small portion of, of the map compared to everywhere else. So it's rare, but it does happen for sure.
We want to talk about like the strength of that storm and how you've been able to forecast them, how that's changed in the last 25 years for you guys.
Yeah, radar technology, high resolution model technology, all of those have gotten so much better. We're able to detect them in real time a lot better. We're able to see things that we weren't able to see before. For instance, I go back to the 2019 tornado in North Dallas. We used a product on TV when we were covering the tornado, the EF3, that was showing debris in the air, a very clear signature of debris. And we have that type of technology now to better warn it. Things have just got, I mean, the dramatic difference in technology over the last 25 years, it's pretty remarkable. So here's what the Fort Worth tornado looked like on radar back in March 28, 2000. This is what we would call a velocity scan. So what this does is it measures the wind speed and the wind direction. And when you get this very bright blue and bright red very close together like this, this is an indication of very strong rotation. So there's the hook echo of the supercell in Fort Worth. There's the rotation that matches up with it. Here's a look at that tornado track. It first touched down in the River Oaks area of Fort Worth, kind of on the like west-northwest side of where downtown is. Then it tracked to Castleberry High School right here. You can actually see the football field. So it started jogging southeast. It crossed the Trinity, and then after it crossed the Trinity, it made a pretty hard right turn due east into downtown Fort Worth, where obviously we saw a lot of that damage there from that. This was on the ground for 10 minutes. It was a 4-mile track before it lifted just before getting to I-35W, 250 yards wide, the tornado. Obviously, the path of destruction. We've seen videos and pictures of that, and I believe, Jason, we're about to see some more.
All right, Jesse, thank you. The Bank One tower that you see there was the first skyscraper known to take a direct hit from a tornado. Hundreds of windows shattered there, raining huge shards of glass down onto the street below. Very dangerous. Just look at it go there. It spent years as an eyesore after that in Fort Worth's skyline. Matt Houston now shows us what it took to give that tower a new lease on life.
From the right perspective, in the right lighting. The protective cap on top of the tower takes after a Stetson hat. Fitting. Because this is where the West began again.
You know, it used to have like this almost skirt at the bottom.
That was the original title of Rob Smat's manuscript on the Fort Worth tornado, until he found a different angle.
I remember growing up here and seeing especially the Bank One tower, now the tower, covered in plywood for all that time and thinking, wow, you know, that's why is that still there? And this is the story of that too.
For years, Smat's combed through old Star Telegram photos and newscasts and interviewed survivors. He found a made-for-TV drama about the people who rebuilt Bank One, the first skyscraper to encounter a twister.
The tower was stuck and, stuck in limbo. The windows weren't even the half of it.
Though any story about Bank One starts with those 3,540 panes.
All of our glass is out and just Bank One's glass is in my apartment.
The building's west side took nature's worst. Windows that weren't blown out on March 28th fell out in the following days.
Some of the panes weigh 200 pounds and the streets below are littered with shards of glass. And when they drop to the ground, they shatter into razor-sharp pieces.
Cleanup crews beat out the dangling glass while downtown streets were closed. Soon, plywood covered the empty holes, and Bank One became Plank One.
It just turns into what, some would call a cluster very quickly.
Talks of turning the property into a parking lot began immediately. But a nearby church and businesses feared their buildings would be damaged by debris during an implosion. Workers started manual deconstruction, though that process slowed when they found asbestos. Bank One sat, covered in so much moldy plywood, the city declared it a fire hazard.
That was Fort Worth's birdhouse for 5 years, if not longer.
Demolition's delay embarrassed Fort Worth's leaders, but it saved the building. In 2003, new investors announced the skyscraper, too sturdy for a tornado, too stubborn for demolition, would become housing.
It's wild to think we're sitting here right now in a beautiful condo.
Graham Stiles is the realtor who handles condo sales at the tower. Today, it's the city's largest residential high-rise, with 36 floors and 276 units. It changed the neighborhood.
Downtown was a place a lot of people went to work, but it rolled up at 5:30 p.m.
No one had really pitched apartments and condos for the city's center, but the tower filled up so fast,
there was a line.
Management abandoned plans to rent apartments and instead listed every unit for sale. Other developers followed, and downtown became a place to live and enjoy.
I really think it's what spurred a lot of the other redevelopments that we saw.
Today, it's easy to trace the tornado's path from the tower's western windows. Just look for what's new.
The tornado was a source of immense damage, but it also fostered a lot of the resurgence and the growth of Fort Worth that you see now.
Smat would tell you there really aren't villains in his story, just an unfortunate few stuck handling problems no one had before. Downtown Cowtown's unwitting trailblazers. In Fort Worth, I'm Matt Houston.
You can find out much more about the Fort Worth tornado on demand on WFAA Plus right now. Tonight at 7 o'clock, watch our coverage of the tornado that day. We're talking about as it happened. If you're not already watching us on WFAA Plus, just download it to your TV and you can join us for free.
And still to come right here, a look back at the huge damage caused to Calvary Cathedral and what the church's former pastor says were the 3 miracles to come out of this tragedy.